The storm hit my house so bad that people could hear it in Discord. That's how much hail we got, and
Wow.
I couldn't even hear anybody in Discord.
Yep.
Wow.
Even when the
Hail's
mic
scary.
wasn't keyed, we could still hear it.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, that's
bad.
loud.
I like your outfit, Vlad. That's
Oh, is it my
awesome.
crafting outfit?
Oh, I remember this outfit, Ingrid's outfit. Remember
Yep.
Buckaroo gave us all? That's awesome. I still have
Oh,
mine.
I didn't know we were supposed to wear the
No one said
outfits.
anything to me either, so.
No.
Well, I
No,
decided
no,
to
it's
change
okay.
this time.
There's a fish on the ground.
There's no dress code. We're just tonight because me, John, and Vladimir will be the instructors, so we're not asking to do anything officer-wise. Except for, putting out announcements if you have some. So, we're good.
Hey, really
All right.
quick, Vlad, did you see the hustler hat? It made me think of you.
Yeah, I put it in my my pimp outfit.
I was going to ask that, but then I thought that would make you pull it out.
Oh, there it
There it
is.
Nice.
Vlad, they thought of you. I have to say.
Right?
Oh,
They
God.
totally did. That's so perfect for that. I love it.
Now, Kathy, yours has the feather.
Yeah, mine doesn't have the feather.
We were talking about that. It has it. It just doesn't show up.
That's robbed. Bummer.
Ashley's going to be here and she's here. She's just waiting to load this there. Okay, I can start.
See, I don't.
Is that a male versus female character thing?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, maybe it
I
is.
bet. Yeah,
Kathy,
I bet that's a bug.
Kathy, hand me your hat.
It's also your hair's peeking through it. You should double bug it.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it is.
Circle's a little bit too small.
All right, we're going to start.
I see the feather.
So it's just like the bikini bottoms.
Yeah.
Different for the male or female.
That probably is an oversight. There's no reason the ladies wouldn't have the feather.
Hear ye, hear ye. Hi, Nebby.
What chat is that?
Local?
Local. It's local chat, man.
Local.
Mm.
And like always, the back pew is the one that most people tend to head for.
I'm going to be out of Discord, just watching chat for a bit because this headphones and the heat here make it quite hot.
I spelled available wrong.
You caught it. That's what's important.
That's right. And I think that's it. They really didn't go into too
You ain't
much.
gonna. No. You might tell them that it's some of it is way high. You gotta be way high.
Yeah.
Yeah, how many
Hey,
colors have we used up trying?
Light, you have your baby on you, the yellow one?
I have a couple on me actually.
What's your taming at?
My taming 115.
Holy cap. Okay.
That's probably why you can't get the destroyer, because I think he said that he was a 147.
Yeah, it's pretty low chance.
Jeez. Death Star.
From 100 to 147, that's how many skill point? How much? Million?
Several. It's many million.
Where'd he go? Oh, there he is.
He's chewing on Soul's ankles.
What are you at, Light, for taming?
115.
Yeah, I like Nutbee's suggestion. Just set your skill to 200. Like Atos did. He tested it.
Good boy.
Fellow needs a name.
For some reason, I can't pet him. Maybe I don't have the pet emote. I don't know. What is the emote? Is it? Yeah, I don't have that.
You know what?
Weird.
It won't do it if you just type it. You have to click on it in the
Right.
emotes thing, and it'll work.
What's it called?
Pet?
/pet, yeah. But
Oh,
the
I don't
problem
have
is
it.
there's a /pet command, /pet space, and then dismiss or follow or all that kind of stuff. So it thinks you're trying to do that command rather than the emote.
Yeah.
Kathy's was like staring at me last night. It was weird. It got a little
Oh,
awkward.
yeah.
But not last night, the other night. I thought I was its mommy.
Yeah, I don't want to
Actually, it
take up
probably
too
thought
much
you was a
time.
hot dog. No,
Maybe.
Nubby, you can't write it.
Name your dragon Heinz
Got
or
some-
French's.
Nubby's got some hipster glasses on, it looks like. Oh, it's an eye patch. Never mind.
What's the difference?
Oh, I didn't mean to
Yeah.
do that.
You just throw stuff at me?
You rolled the dice.
Wait a minute. Oh, there it is. That's what I wanted.
The calm down.
Yeah.
Hey, if anybody doesn't have that, we could all go get it.
I'm the bad student, so apparently.
It's okay.
Where is Denarian? He couldn't make it tonight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he's not going to be able to make it for a while to the Saturday nights.
See,
But
it's a
it's
curse.
not a big deal.
Whoever's town it's in can't make it to the meeting.
No, actually, you can blame Denarian not being able to be here on mock.
That's right.
What am I doing?
Do you have an announcement?
No, I said I don't have anything critical.
Oh. Oh, okay. Well, that doesn't mean that you don't have anything. Okay, we'll get started then.
You could have many non-critical things.
Anything to critical?
Quasi-critical.
Hey, John, how come you don't tell them about what happened at Fight Club?
Ooh.
What
Don't
happened at
talk
Fight
about
Club?
I got
Profile
proposed on top of me by a
5.
woman.
Oh. I posted it, so.
Oh, that was classic. That dog howled, and just as you said that, that was perfect.
The cool ones.
Rainbow's on.
I'm gonna have to type this in game, you guys, because Ashley can't hear, so she can't join us in chat or in Discord. So just bear with us as we type these things out.
No worries.
And I'm gonna mute myself so you don't hear my incessant typing.
But we like your incessant typing.
I was gonna say.
It's impressive.
It's a little, what is that, SMR or whatever the heck it is.
It's relaxing, isn't it?
I'm only explaining somebody doesn't know. I know most of you probably do, but
Also the B key if you haven't changed the mapping.
oh, okay. That's good to know.
Dang caps lock.
That's hilarious.
See what I mean? It's like super impressive. Sounds like a machine.
What?
You're
Am I typing? Oh.
It's like a teletype machine.
I was obsessed with typing growing up. What's the name of that other place?
Silvis Bridge
East
outskirts
Canal
has
Trail.
a lot of easy wood.
Yep.
That's a good point. I know one nearby. I think I'm spelling that right. Maple Forest, maybe.
Yeah, that looks right.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Nereid pine lands are good for pine too. That's all they have.
Oh yeah.
The South Nereid pine lands is the one I usually go to because that one's easier. They're both pretty easy. Oh.
So, a more technical question: do you prefer maple or pine for your crafting stuff? I normally try to do the maple.
It doesn't make a difference.
No, it does. Well, for furniture or for weapons?
For weapons.
For weapons,
Oh.
pine, because pine gives you critical chance. Weapon gives, or maple, I think gives. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it gives weapon damage, and the critical chance is much better in general.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Yeah. I can make a little grid with all the various types, like gray pine and crimson pine and all that. Should do that.
Yeah, crimson pine is one of the best. Or not crimson pine. Sorry, gray pine is what most people like because it's got the most critical chance.
I sell my hides.
You sell your hides?
I sell everything, Light. I sell my leather hides, everything. Well, not the scorpion stuff. I don't craft. I mean, isn't that what leather hides are for? Crafting?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yes.
for making leather armor.
And gifts. Nothing like opening up a real pretty wrapped box and finding none but smelly hide.
Nubby. He's just gonna go to everybody who has a question.
I thought it was the leather carcasses for food, not the leather hides. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm.
You get the carcasses when you gather the hides.
Badger, what do you mean? The best price for what? You can ask me. I'll just give the answer in the game.
For selling the different stuff.
Oh,
You mean selling it to merchant vendors?
Yeah, or is it better putting it on a vendor or selling it to the NPC?
Mm.
Yeah, Winfield's a real big apple farmer as well.
Oh, yes, he is. Did you ever see his place? Oh, well, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, that's where I hang out. I live in his hotel.
He took me on a tour of it one day.
Yeah, he's pretty proud of his little town.
They should put a lot of work into it.
Holy moly, the storm is coming through again here.
wow.
Sorry, that scared me. At least
All right,
it
guys, let's
wasn't
go
the
upstairs.
F-bomb.
Going up to level 2.
Oh, being
Okay,
drunk
so
doesn't slow you
back up.
down this time. It used to slow you down, doesn't it?
Really?
Well, I'm wasted and I'm walking pretty quick.
Wasted.
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
me too. It just makes everything blurry.
Yeah.
We so need the Gib slap emote in this game.
There is a slap emote.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Gib slap mode. Ask him if he means mentally.
I hear a doggy.
Yep.
Oh, it's scary here. If I get disconnected, it's because I lost power.
Do you need to go check on anything?
No, I'm good right now.
I need to go check
Okay.
on my dog, so I'll be right back.
I'm just going to check the weather really quick. AFK really quick. I'm just going to take a quick look outside.
Just don't wear your ruby slippers.
Right.
In the gathering or foraging, what am I trying to survey helped you find some of the stuff that don't really show up. Some of the
I thought that's what Meticulous to get like tin and stuff like that. Those extra ores.
no, just to find them. You go into Pinnell Trail, and there's some things you can't find, especially the pearl. It's very well hidden. And if it don't light up, a new person will never see it.
Yeah. Okay. Ashley's going to be leaving, so if you want to talk, you can. Vlad. Talking to Vlad.
Oh, thank God. Before I get up there. Oh.
That's what
Everybody
I'm
else-
saying.
Everybody else should be thanking God too.
Okay, then.
Yeah, that'll be easier for you.
And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Welcome
Thank
back.
you.
Yay.
I'll
Main winning side.
wait till she's done though. I'll keep typing.
Okay. She's like, I'm feeling bad that I'm missing school, and I said, you get a hall pass.
So I got this part copied or written already.
Okay,
Okay.
I've done what you're talking about now, but I've never done any blacksmith besides repairing and stuff. Is it basically the same?
All the skills are essentially the same. Yeah.
Okay.
So whatever he's referring to, let me catch back up here. But if you learn one,
Yeah,
they all work basically the same.
Oh, okay. Ashley and I have almost the same exact outfit on.
So how do you level up the efficient refine? Because I've got quite a bit of the other ones, but I only have one efficient refine, say like on smelting.
say that again.
So I've got smelting, and I've got 65 at the top. I've got 40 for batching. I've got 47 for swift refining. But when I get down to efficient refining materials, it's only set at 1. So obviously I'm not. It's not growing like the other ones are. So I was just wondering, is there a trick to getting the efficient refining leveling higher?
You should be doing it in batching, or I mean, if it's not causing it to work in like Swift Refine, it should be exactly the same. If you're making timber and milling, your efficient refine should be going up.
Yep.
If you're making ingots and smelting, your efficient refine should be going up.
As long as you have XP. So that might be something good to talk about.
So are you making which tree were you saying it in?
Well, I was looking at smelting.
Okay, so as long as you got the up arrow up, right?
Yep.
As long as you're making ingots, it should be working.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll have to go back and make a few more ingots and see if it goes up.
It takes a lot, but
Well, but it'll go. It should go up fast the first few. If
Yeah.
it's, I mean, but it's only ingots, right? If you're making the next stage stuff, that's none of those lower 3 skills are going to do anything.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I make sure to make ingots. Got it.
So like, and if batching's going up, efficient refine should be going up.
did you just say that it has to be ingots?
Right.
that
Like
what
you can't make archaic boy statues and have
Right.
those skills go up.
Or like say you make cloth and you turn it into like Carapacian cloth. The second refine does not give you any XP.
Correct.
It does not put any XP in that.
The
It's only
thread.
Yep, it's only
the thread. Once you put it into the next stage, timber does, but wooden boards do not.
Right. It has to be the first step of the crafting stage for that on that table is the only one that gives you puts XP into the thing. think we're all in
All right.
invoice. alignment.
So let me find out where I was. So yeah, I like to take basically when I'm leveling somebody new. Oh no, he's not.
His name is here.
When I say I'm taking an alt up, I'll in smelting. Let's do smelting. I'll take that up to 40, and of course it really helps to have a big XP pool. And then immediately run over to Resolute and open the next two. And I'll level all three of them at the same time. As soon as the next two middle ones hit 40, I lock them. As soon as the top one hits somewhere around 60, I lock it temporarily. And then I just try to get efficient refine up at least to like 80, because by the time you're hitting 100, you're getting 20% more resources out of your resources. So that's huge. At that point, I'll then unlock the top skill and get it up to 80 or 100. And the middle ones I leave for a while until I get bored and want longer things. But even right now, my Swift Refine is only at 69 and batching is only at 75. They're just like basically for your convenience.
Now, if you have a large experience pool, would it make sense to go ahead and leave them up arrowed so that you're gaining experience while you're doing the rest of it? Or
you're
should
still
you go ahead
gaining
and
experience. Anytime you're doing it, you're gaining. Anytime you do any crafting, you're gaining experience. Whether the arrow's up or not, it's not going to make any difference. What the arrow is going to do is be pulling stuff out of your pool into the skills. So you basically want to level up the skills in the order you want them to be up higher. So to me, especially in refining, the most efficient one or the best one is the one that gives you bonus materials. But you're still going to get, you're still like, let's say you're getting like 50, something tiny, 50 XP per thing. You get that whether the arrows are up or not. It's just that you never really see it, right? Because you got all these it's also draining at the same time it's adding. Does that make sense?
Got it. Yep.
So, is there a benefit to GMing the main smelting skill?
Yeah, the benefit is less failures, so you lose less coal. Plus, you get
This is faster too.
Plus, you get. Let's say you're making a bunch of random deco. You get a higher chance of making an exceptional item. Exceptional items give you 5 times the XP of the item if it was a non-exceptional. And this is really huge, particularly in like carpentry or blacksmithing, where you've got a lot of deco items. If you go down through them, there's a first time crafting bonus. So the first time you make whatever, let's say it's a bench. The first time you make the bench, you get a big bonus on how many XP it's going to give you. Well, if you hit an exceptional on top of it, you get 5 times that first time crafting bonus. So, and if you look at those ugly signs, there's like 20 or 30 different versions of them. And they take about 10 boards to make. So they're not horribly expensive, but if you hit the exceptional on the first time one, and you'll get more of these if your base carpentry skill is higher, and you use the devotional, and you got your maple band artifact. If you hit an exceptional on that, that's 15,000 XP. And so like if there's 20 or 30 of them, you got your skill up high enough, you're getting exceptionals 25% of the time or so, that you can suddenly be making like 500,000 XP in a quick setting, or 300,000 or something, just from making stupid signs.
If you make smart signs, you can get even more.
Smart signs.
Nice.
Yeah. With refining, it's mostly because it saves you your fuels.
Is that smart by the S smart signs we make? Oh,
what's that?
I said, does S smart buy the S smart signs we make?
I've got such a pile of them, but I could probably buy some of them.
It was a joke.
Well, I do want to when we get into the crafting, buy bulk order stuff, I can restock some things from stuff you guys make, actually. So on to production. One quick way to level a skill, blacksmithing, carpentry, or tailoring quickly, assuming you got a nice big XP pool, is to, and I think it's cheesy as hell, but you just do a ton of salvage. So before you suddenly decide you want to be a crafter, rather than selling all those junk weapons, throw them in a chest, and then when you're like, all right, I'm ready to do it, I'm going to become a blacksmith, you go there and you salvage a couple hundred of those with your skills turned on and your potion of learning on, and hopefully you're paired with a GM, and you'll go from 0 to 80 in that time, just like boom, without having had to make anything that really cost you anything, because you're just salvaging trash.
So I have a question. I have nothing in carpentry, any of the production, besides just the top skill. Is it beneficial for me to learn? I do have some in repair, blacksmithing repair. I'm at 75. Since I'm only going to be repairing my weapons, is it beneficial for me to keep raising that?
Repair?
Yeah, for my armor and stuff, because I have nothing in, anything else. Carpentry, nothing.
I believe the higher you go in your repair, the bigger the repair is.
So instead
I don't
of
have absolute fact on that, but
Yeah,
that's what the
that's
tool
true.
trip says.
Okay, so instead of like 2 repairs scrolls, it might take only 1.
Right.
Okay, yeah, because I have nothing in tailoring, nothing, any of my production.
You have to use
besides
the table,
the top.
So if you repair in the field, like you just drop a repair kit on your halberd,
Right.
it's only going to get 40 each time. At the crafting table, if you put the repair kit and the halberd in and you repair, then that's where you get the bonus.
So I should raise my repair.
It's not a bad thing. I mean, it can be helpful.
Yeah, but you also should use the crafting table when you do your repairs.
Yeah, that's also the only place you get the skill. But obviously, you've got the skill, so you've been doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, since you're in plate especially, it would be very handy for you to get a nice high craft repair skill, because your gear is expensive.
Okay.
If your max durability on any of your items is like 40, then it will do you no good. If your max durability is higher than 40, it will help out a little bit, but it depends on where you start from. And then, at the moment, it doesn't, so it's not absolutely necessary, but it is helpful. It's not a terrible thing. You're going to repair anyways. So this doesn't hurt to raise the skill.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just checking.
Are there any questions on the production tree? We've gone through all the trees. Is there any questions on any? Okay, and just as a reiteration and an ability to ask questions after I say it, the most of the way you want to raise your skills is just like in the adventure tree, is to get a big pool if possible before pumping it into stuff. Although it's not a big deal with, let's take carpentry. If you're just cranking out like I do some benches and stuff like that, no big deal. You don't need to worry about leveling that skill as fast. If you're working on gear, you do want to get to it a higher level as fast as possible so you can make that exceptional gear. So in that case, you want a big XP pool. You want the guidance potion. You want to be teamed with the GM, and so you shoot past the part where you're always going to make crap. It's like but you're making a little bit better stuff, or you're making better stuff a little more often.
And I was going to
Got
cover
the higher skill
too, but I'll add it. I'll throw it in here to add it in just so everybody, since it's the same topic. Having a high skill pool is also important for the number of resources that's required to train the skills. So, for instance, let's take GMing a masterworking skill. I'll take carpentry because I'm pretty familiar with those. So it takes around 8 to 12,000 ingots to level carpentry masterworking, silver ingots to level the masterworking for carpentry. If your skill pool, if your skill pool is down under like 500k, so by raising your skill pool up to like 5 million and doing the same training, it takes about 500 ingots. So the difference is dramatic. That you can train, and that obviously those ingots are hard to come by and they're very expensive. So it makes a huge difference in the amount of money that you have to spend to train these skills when you get to that level. So having those, and then doing all the things that he's talking about, getting the potion of guidance, doing the teaming up with the GM so you can get the bonus, using the if you can get the bonus from the Lost Veil, that one's another one that's awesome. Does the same thing as the potion of guidance, just not quite as much. All those add up and stack, and then make the training go a lot faster. And again, the most important part is using less resources.
Yep, exactly.
So when you say pairing up with the GM, can you explain that just a little bit more detail?
Just like in combat, if you're in a party with a GM, it's apprenticing basically. So it pulls more XP per use out of your pool than if you weren't with the GM.
Okay.
So it makes it.
And so who would be GMs? I mean, how do we identify who a GM is for crafting?
If they haven't
can you
hidden
add
it,
RK to our group, and that way he can see?
if they haven't hidden it, if you click on the person's name, you can put your mouse over to the left where the up arrow is and see what they're GM'd at.
Do you have to be in a group in order to do that, or a party?
No.
Yes.
No.
I'm checking. No, I'm checking you guys out. Light Tiger's hidden his. What a non-sharing.
What a non-sharer.
Seriously.
In order to get the bonus, you have to be in a party with them, but to check it out, you don't have to.
Yeah.
John's got a lot
Usually, if people don't show it, it's because they don't want to do that, usually. I mean, they probably don't have time to, but I mean, honestly, you should just ask anyway, especially if you want to hook up with somebody in a group and go do it, that would probably be the best way to. Sorry.
Yeah, I just looked at
John.
Nubby,
I blame it on you.
128 Grandmaster.
I don't
So
show
just
mine
target
either.
Nubby and
Well, the reason why it's not showing is because you've probably turned it off for PvP reasons so that people can't see you when you die. Or you don't want to,
Mm,
I don't know the whole reason for turning that off, to be honest with you.
I don't
But
want people to
do
know
it
how
for some
many.
reason.
Yeah, my reason is I don't want people to know how many GMs I have. That's the only reason.
See, and I think that they have created sort of a weird environment for that. I personally, I think it's okay to show it, regardless of what anybody thinks of you, or whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I like to show it too.
Whatever. No matter what people think of you.
Stop.
Sorry.
So what window is actually, what window are you opening to be able to see if people are GMs?
Okay,
No,
so
just like click on me, double click on me, and then you'll see the 16 under the up arrow. That's right. I only got 16 GMs.
Ah, okay. I see.
And mouse over it. Yeah.
Let's
Got it. Thank you. That makes sense. I was just had my friend pool open, and I was like, "What are you guys talking about?" Because I don't see it, but I see it now. Thank you.
Gotcha.
So the last one of my topics was storage management, and this is going to totally depend on you and where you're crafting at. It's really handy to have access to a bank nearby. I like to personally have a crafting chest next to each of the tables so I don't have to walk very far. And I like them to be the crafting chest that has the little symbol that says what it is, even though I know what the chest is.
yeah, the way I do it is I have all of my, just if I can jump in and
Yep,
talk
go
about how I
for
do
it.
it. It's good to have a variety of ways, but I have a container for all of my, let's talk about tailoring. You have textiles, which is, making the thread and then making the bolts of cloth and all the different types of cloths that you can make with, as well as bone armor. All of that is in one container. And then I have another container for the actual tailoring stuff. So I'll take the refined materials such as the bolts and all the other components and put that in the tailoring box. And that box has its own set of wax too. So each one has their own stack of wax that you can use for crafting those things. And then same thing with smelting. Smelting has its own chest. Blacksmithing has its own chest. Milling has its own. You can see what I mean by all of that. That just makes it easier for me.
I actually, in one case, yes, the remote bank is super handy, and I tend to move it around as well, as Nubby says. It's probably the most useful item in the game, to be honest. If you've got a piece of property, the remote bank is key. I have, in my case, I've got almost all of them have their own, but actually my my smelting and blacksmithing share a chest because they're so close together, and they both use ingots to make so many different things. Or that I'm making ingots in one and just throwing them right back. So it kind of depends on your table layout. Definitely, if you've got tables far apart from each other, you want those to each have their own chest, because after a while, you're suddenly going to have 6,000 stone worth of weight in each of the chests. And so you don't want to have to walk any distance with that because it takes so long.
That is interesting. I keep all of my crafting materials in one chest in a central location in my crafting pavilion, to where I can reach out and it's still close enough away that I can grab it and put it in my inventory or place it back in that central location from anywhere in my crafting pavilion. So I have one that I just pick up and put in my inventory and then do whatever crafting I'm going to do. I just make sure everything's back in that chest before I place it back. But it's extremely heavy.
Right. Nubby works only out of the bank. I don't know how you do that. That like
I think that's crazy because
then you
like
got to pull everything out
filtering.
manually.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, you have to filter it. Like you can use the search bar, but even just for me, like I can't work like that. I think it really depends on what you can tolerate as far as having to look through the list. But again, that's like it also has to do with like the components, the different components that you have for it too. And blacksmithing is insane.
Speaking
Yeah, if you're
of
making weapons or armor, it's best for me to do it that way, because that way I can have just the right bindings or just the right sheets. If I just pick up a chest, they'll just randomly choose which to use. I don't like doing that.
Yeah, in that case, I actually have this is my special, like, this is where all of the bronze and the meteoric and stuff, I put those in a separate chest, like away from everything, so I don't accidentally use them, for sure.
Yeah, I started doing that after I accidentally made like 20 chainmail chests with copper bindings instead of, I think it was bronze I was supposed to be using.
Ouch. Yeah, that'll do it.
Well, thank you so much, Vladimir. I really appreciate you teaching everyone.
Thanks for having me. Oh, and as you see what I'm wearing, don't forget to wear your personal protective equipment.
PPI.
Yeah. It also
Or
doesn't
PPE.
hurt to have some of your gear have some strength buffs on it, so that when
Yeah.
you're carrying that stupid heavy chest or what.
Oh yeah, that's very important. All right, graduates. Well, nearly graduates. We're moving on to crafting 103. Close this door.
No spankings. This is where you figure out who's AFK.
Oh, Ashley's back. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, she's been back for 30 minutes. Going.
No, she has not.
When are they gonna start?
She's here? Really?
No, she
No.
I was gonna say I was just joking with John because he hates typing. Just messing with him.
Not worse than me, he don't.
Light Tiger's.
I poked him. He must be AFK. He fell asleep in school.
Yeah, you wake up and everybody's moved on to the next class, and you're still in this classroom. You're not supposed to
Drool
be
all over his face and desk.
Yeah.
That happened to me once.
I fell asleep one time in class.
Did you?
Yeah.
Once? One time?
One
Oh my
time.
gosh, I fell asleep in class all the time.
So, I guess, Kathy, did you wake up and you go, this fucking book? And then just everybody looked at you? I'm just,
Like-
because you said that earlier. I mean, the other last week.
FYI, Light Tiger's streaming.
Oh, no, sorry. Oh,
Kathy's
no.
not the only one now.
I like how he's streaming and yet he's just down there. Okay, John, sorry, go ahead.
I was in nuclear power and in nuke school. I don't know how many times I woke up to Pastor Town stand up at the class with the back of your notes. Or sorry, stand up in the back of the class with your notes. So, yeah, that's it. So everybody open your books, page 175. We're gonna pick up where we left off.
I always got to sit out in the hallway.
Hey, Max, it's okay. He has it set for mature audiences.
Alrighty, I'm gonna start reading. In the ivory shaft with the velvet tip, plunge deeply. Oh, wait, this is the wrong book. Sorry. Oh, that was a joke. That was gonna work out so much better in typing, but see, typing does work for some things. So, anyways, yep, we're going to talk about the advanced crafting now. What are you going to do all kinds of fun things and make things better? So, one of the things that I'm going to talk about is like some of the more advanced recipes. And I'll be quite honest with you, I don't know where all these things are. So in general, some of the advanced recipes are coming as drops, and it helps to ask around to find out where they're dropping. I think SodaWiki actually provides a pretty decent indication of where you can get some of the advanced recipes. Sometimes it's just knowing what the advanced recipes are, but these are generally things. Yep.
You can get them from the supply bundles too. So like the yellow ones and the blue ones, mainly the yellow ones. You can get lower level recipes, I think, from the gray ones, but I usually get them from yellow.
Yep.
So
basically, one of the things that you'll figure out right off the bat is, I want to make a suit of Constantin armor. Well, you can't, not because you're gonna have to get all the recipes before you can make the suit, because those aren't learnable, and they're also not teachable. So you have to get the recipes, and that can be quite painful. So it can cost a lot of money, as Sol can probably elaborate on.
Yeah, so like maybe last year sometime I spent about $400K on blacksmithing recipes because they were not dropping very often, and so people were hiking the prices up to like $30K per recipe or something like that. And I had gotten quite a few from the drops myself, but at some point it started to slow down. So I think right now you can possibly get away with buying them for $5K each. You could probably get them for free from people too. It just depends. But it's really worth it to collect them.
And that's actually something we forgot. We were actually going to bring, between the guild and some of us, we all have buckets full of recipes, and people can start filling out their recipe lists if you want to get into crafting by starting with that. So that way you have fewer to get down the road. At least mine are available to anybody, I'm sure, and the guild ones too. So the important thing to understand is that there's a lot of recipes to make things that you can't just know, or people can't just teach them to you. And you have to go out and get them, buy them, or get them from somebody else who hasn't. The next thing is, when you're making stuff, there's like a base level of materials. Like I want to make a pine bow. So I get pine, and it's pretty straightforward. I just make my my bow, make the components I need, and I make my bow. That's not going to get you very far as, and most of you guys probably already know this. I'm just going to skip over this really fast. But the next thing is to figure out the advanced components. As a person who isn't a crafter, understanding what goes into the advanced components is helpful, because it's also, even if you don't craft, it's helpful to understand, because it's when you're trying to get somebody to make you a bow or something like that, or a sword or a halberd or whatever, it helps to know what goes into it, so that you can kind of understand what it takes to make it. So making a bow takes 5 timbers. If I want to make an advanced bow, like let's say I want to make one with gray pine, that's actually going to take 20 timbers, because and it's going to take some other resources too, because I have to turn those 5 timbers, I have to make 5 gray pine timbers, which is a second level of refining to get those higher level timbers. So it's all in here.
You go from, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You go from timber to gray pine by using, I believe, bark, right? Or maybe
nope.
ash.
It's pine resin.
Okay, pine resin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So basically, you're
somewhat expensive material.
Yeah,
as well.
For a while those were about 100 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
So the important thing to understand is that it's not just oh hey, you made a bow out of pine, it should be the same to make a gray pine. It's not. It's going to cost like 5 times as much. The other things that are important are getting resources from drops and things like that. And so for instance, and I'll use the archery because that's obviously the one I do the most. And if I want to use imbued elven bowstrings, we got to go get them. So you can't just make them.
Yeah.
So that means that we need to go farm the elven bows. The
They have
once you
plus
once you
ones.
the higher they actually go up to +2, and the higher the plus on them, the higher the chance that you'll get a imbued bowstring out of it. Or and the same thing goes with the other items too. The higher the pluses, the more chance of getting whatever it is you're looking, the good components out of it.
Can I interrupt for a sec?
Go for it.
On those expensive, just to give people an idea, if you're paying 80 for wood, or if wood is worth 80 because you could go sell it instead of using it, right? And if pine resin is 100 right now, then a maple or pine bow is about 1,400 gold for the stave by itself, not the string. Meanwhile, a crimson pine bow is 6,600 to make just for the bow stave in material cost. That's it. I just wanted to show how much higher.
Yeah.
If you're making the high end stuff, it's going to cost you.
Yep.
Yep.
So
I wanted to also interject that this might be a good point to talk about efficiencies in crafting. Always look for the recipes for the maple timbers from scraps, or whatever from scraps. The scraps recipes really
Save you.
help. Yeah, they help a lot.
Yeah. Those numbers were for scrap ones. If you were to do it without using scrap, you just probably double it or something. It's like a lot more. I don't like. It's not even an option to not use scrap in my world.
right. So far we've talked about advanced recipes and the fact that there's higher level stuff and it can cost a lot more. We've talked about the advanced components that we've used for training. Anybody have any questions so far? Anybody else want to comment?
Yeah, one more comment. Since we talked about scrap, leather and cloth, the scrap is not important.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
not.
It's just, it doesn't make a difference. So don't worry
It's
about
because
scrap.
yeah.
Yep.
Because it takes too much to get it in order to use it, and you don't get a lot like you do wood scrap and all the other things. It's just not readily available.
That, and economically it doesn't, because the price of cotton and leather is so low, it doesn't actually. There was a period there where it was actually more expensive to use scrap, I think, because you then just selling the scrap outright, and it might still be that way.
We talked a little bit about salvaging too. I'm going to cover masterworking and enchanting in one shot here. So just to make sure, and again, this is also helpful whether you choose to do crafting or not, because it's helpful to understand what goes into this sort of stuff. In masterworking and enchanting, and they are using gold or silver to improve the attributes of your item. Everybody probably knows that already. However, it's important to understand that what attributes come up are random. So that means that each time that I masterwork something, I'm going to get a random set of 3 things that I can choose from for how to, what to choose to apply on that weapon or thing. If the higher my skills are, the better those things are, and the higher chance that I can get a better one. So if you open we'll walk through that real quick. We'll do carpentry. Open carpentry and you'll see that there's the carpentry training skill, there's the carpentry masterwork skill, and this is the same for enchanting, basically just a different tree though. And then there's 3 masterworking skills that go underneath it. So the carpentry skill, as Vlad pointed out earlier, is what determines your skill or your chance of getting an exceptional item when you craft the item. It's important for masterworking and enchanting to get exceptional, because the more durability you have, the more masterworks and enchantments you can apply to an item. It uses up durability as you apply these things, so you want to have an item that's got the most durability you can get, or else you're going to end up with something that's got a very low durability and you're having to repair it all the time. The masterwork skill, just the second tier one, is what determines your success in a masterwork. So it doesn't determine what you get. It just determines whether or not you're successful when you go to masterworking. Then the 3 skills in the bottom for carpentry, and it's the same for all the other trees, but different sets of skills. Those, the value, how high you are in those skills determine how good your masterworks are, or enchantments if you're doing enchanting. So to reiterate, the first one determines how likely you are to get an exceptional. The enchanting skill or masterworking skill tells you whether or not you're successful in masterworking or enchanting. And then the last one determines the skills or the things that you can apply. It's unique for each item, what can go on it, and there's a set number of masterworks or enchantments. Once you apply that one, so let's say you get a major health bonus and you apply it to an item, that one is now gone from the list. So I can't get a bow or a halberd or a sword with 3 strength buffs on it. I can only get 2, one major and one minor, because there's only 2 strength buffs in the rotation. That's actually a very important thing to understand, because if you're buying something, even if you don't do crafting, you need to know what the limit is. The limit is a major and a minor for strength, and that's it. That's the only strength I can get on there. One real quick thing, and I will reiterate this again from earlier, it's very important to have, if you're going to train up a masterworking skill or enchanting is actually worse, a lot worse. You really have to get a super high skill pool, like at least 5 million, or else it's going to be a crap ton of materials to get to train that skill, and it can take a long time too. So the higher skill pool, and then using the potions and all the stuff we talked about before is very important. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the specializing, which we don't really have much about that, but I'm going to just kind of open it up to the floor, throw it in, and throw it out for questions and comments. And if anybody has any info on the specializing, throw that out there so that we can, because that's coming in the future. It's not here yet, so we don't really have a good handle on it yet, but there have been some ideas thrown around and some hints to what's coming.
Yeah, has anybody heard about the specializing for? I mean, they talked about it, and then I didn't hear about it for afterwards.
Yeah, it's gone dark on that for quite a while, actually.
Yeah.
Supposedly it's still coming. I don't know of anything that's turned it off, but it might have become overcome by events and with other things. It's not PvP, so.
Well, we can skip. I don't think it's really relevant yet, but I did want to add a couple of pieces of information real quick.
Mm-hmm.
For enchanting, you're going to be using gold ingots. So when you are enchanting a piece of armor, you're going to need to have gold ingots on you. And for masterworking, you always use 5 silver ingots. So it's good. This is why, it's like you don't really understand how expensive it is to make armor until you do it yourself. You can blow through about 100 silver ingots in like a minute.
Yep.
Like seriously, less than a minute.
If I could interject too, another thing that's important to understand is, so I know a lot of people have had stuff made in the past, and you get it back and you're like, well, this doesn't have what I wanted on it. It's all random. It's all part of the RNG. So one of the things to understand is that in order to craft something, you can get lucky, obviously, and if you take just enough set of materials to a crafter to make one item, one bow, one halberd, one sword, one whatever, there's a really good chance that you're not going to get what you want. If you take enough stuff to make 5 items, that chance goes up dramatically. So you have a much higher chance of getting the stuff that you want on it. In order to get something that's like super, like really, really good, it takes about 20 items to make before, just on the statistics alone, it takes about 20 items to get something that's like really, really, really good. So that's a lot of materials. And so it's just important to understand that concept, because it is all RNG based. It is, you stand a chance of failing every time.
So if you consider you've got a rock maple longbow with hardened leather strings, so it cost 11,000 gold just to make the first one. Just bear that in mind.
Right. So
Well, and also some components don't. You don't lose some components. It's mainly just like the refined material that you lose, right?
no, you lose the whole thing. So just consider what I'm saying though. Because it takes a second to grasp it. I make the item. The item is done, and then I go to enchant it, and it fails 3 times. That I lost the whole thing. I can't. That item is now worthless. And
Yeah, you still have it. It's just garbage.
but it's garbage.
Yeah, oh
right?
yeah, yeah. Blow up anymore.
So it used
to blow
to
up.
away, yeah. And
Oh,
in all
man.
honesty, that wasn't necessarily a bad thing because one failure is not in and of
Yeah,
itself
Nubby.
bad. 2 is reasonable, but then once you get once you get to 2 failures, that item is pretty low on the ability to it's not going to be a good item anymore. And generally, the really good items are going to have 0 failures. So that's kind of like a given. So, yep.
A tip for if you are going to do a ton of masterworking or enchanting in the future is to actually hit up the public vendors and look for underpriced gear, right? If you do see a rock maple longbow in there that's just the basic one and it's 4,000 gold, well, it cost the person 3 times that to make it. Buy it, throw it in a chest, wait till you're getting ready to do your big push, and then you can do it. If you fail, well, it didn't cost you 12,000 gold to make. If you succeed, yay! You know.
Yeah, but make sure the durability on that isn't already squandered.
Right.
For sure. Yeah, always check that.
You can't enchant or masterwork something that's below, I think, 35. Enchanting is 30, 35 for masterworking durability.
And a note on that, if you are, which this is how I leveled. I had months I was just buying cheap gear that was underpriced and throwing it in a trunk. And then I went through and enchanted them like for hours and hours. And I was able to do it because I don't mind that my name's not on it. If you really have to have your name on the stuff, then you're not going to want to do that because whoever made it originally, their name's still going to be on it.
Okay.
Gotcha. The something else I was going to mention is if you're going to do a lot of enchanting takes a ton of mandrake. Stock up on all the make sure you have the reagents needed to fuel the things you wanted.
All right, so that's the bell. We're gonna have to leave it for there. We got plenty more to do down the line here.
How about you can enchant stuff that you've gotten out of loot, right? That as long as it's crafted by somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You can enchant artifacts, and some of them you can masterwork.
Well, guys, I really appreciate you coming out. We did have 2 activities planned, but I think we only have enough time for 1 activity. And then I will just give you the other activity to take home with you. So if you want to come on up to me, I will hand you your bulk order deed. Now, this is to do now. So once I hand it to you, you can get started on it. And then